Hello and welcome. In this video we are going to be out of comfort zone quite a bit. The first thing is this lipstick. I don't know. I never wear this kind of light peachy or light pink tones. I don't know what to think, but I decided I just go for it, and I want to see from the when I'm editing this at how it looks like. To me it looks very strange and not the best one for me, but we'll see. Bear with me. Leave me a comment what you think, because I honestly have no idea. But the main thing what we are doing today, as you have seen from the video title, that today's star is the Magic Star concealer from Jeffree Star. And that's the other thing why I'm out of my comfort zone, because this is the first product ever I have purchased from Jeffree. I cannot say that I'm a supporter, but I did get quite a lot of requests to test this concealer, and I was quite curious as well how it wears. So in the skin plus 40 creases, dryness, you know the trick. The third thing why I'm out of my comfort zone is that I picked a shade that I usually wouldn't have. It is on me now, so it doesn't look that bad, but when I'm applying it, I tell you more about the shade situation. But not without further ado, let's go and test. You will see how it applies, my thoughts of its the first impression, and then I will do check-ins during the day of how it wears. So without further ado, let's get into the application, and then I will tell my first reactions after I did my makeup. Here we are, me and him. I haven't even opened this, so this is truly a first impression as well as wear time test. This is the right. I have, as I said, I have the shade C6. This is a bit of battle or risk from me. I did think this a lot. I wasn't so sure. I'm trying to open this. I think the infamous shade C5 would have been kind of safe bet for me. I was thinking about C3 as well, but I was a bit worried that it's too light. And I've had this shade matching problem lately, that it feels like no shades are good for me. That it's either too yellow, too pink, too light, too dark. And when I saw that this is light with olive based shade, like undertone, I really wanted to test that is this the right undertone for me. It is pretty. It is pretty. It is bulky, yes. Would I travel with this? No. It's really sharp, yes. But it's really pretty, yes. That's it. So, at least looking from the package, this shade actually might be quite good. So let's zoom in and see what happens when I'm applying it on my eyes. I'm going to apply this foundation concealer with my Zoeva brush. It's because this is the method I always use with my concealers. But if I notice any difficulties with brush, I will switch to sponge. But Concealer is not considered good for me if I'm not able to use it with my brush. So that is why I rarely, if ever, do my foundation with sponge, or if I do, I have dry sponge, not wet one. So this is just my preference, so I'm going to do my review based on my preferences. I already noticed that this star, it is beautiful, but because this package opens from here, I want to hold it from here, and this hits to my hands and it's sharp, so don't like that one. Basic thing, I don't get excited about the shape or holes or anything, so it's just an applicator for me. I really don't like this star. I maybe need to get it off. So let's dive in. I don't know why I'm nervous about this, but I am. I've heard that little bit goes a long way. So this is the amount I would use with other foundations. Oh my god, concealers that I wear. So let's try with this one. It is not as full and thick as I expected. As you can see, this still shows the darkness through, but it does look very natural on the skin, but it does look a bit dry on the skin. The shade, I don't know yet. Let's layer this up a little bit. It builds up really, really beautifully, and at least now it doesn't look that bad on my creases, so it's looking beautiful. Okay, it has creased, which always happens. I'm sorry, I have this, I will come closer. I don't know if you can see, I will edit this if you don't, but there is, but this happens always. I have fine lines, which are not so fine anymore, but I have lines, and as I haven't powdered it, there is going to be creases. It's just law of the nature. I must say that this is really beautiful looking. If you have very dry skin and you haven't moisturized your skin well, this might be too kind of drying. I can already see that it's not that kind of really moisturizing thick concealer, for example, as is the Tarte Creaseless Concealer, which is very opposite to this one. It's very, very emollient and thick, and it's not oily, but it does leave that wet kind of glow to your skin. I don't know, I'm so tempted to try a little bit of probably something to cancel out the blue tone from my, but then I would corrupt the test. I'm going to do this. I'm going to add a little bit of my Becca Brightener. It has this pink salmon kind of tone, and as usual I take the smallest amount, and this side is more bluish, so I add a little bit here. This is a combination I wear almost with every other concealers as well, so this is nothing exceptional for me to do. This one doesn't give that much like pigmentation, if I want that, I use the Benefit Bowing concealer or corrector, but this gives a little bit more reflection, which kind of gives that optical lightening effect, and just a little bit of that color as well. I will leave this side untouched otherwise, so we will see how this concealer does during the day. I have this very fluffy brush from Zoeva. This is Luxe Powder Fusion, and I do just this. I just tap, I don't track, so that I get the most smallest amount of powder that I can just imagine. And I start from the outer corner, so the most of the powder sticks here, which is the area which can handle most of the powder. And I took a little bit of more, and then I add, but I'm going to do the rest of my makeup now, and we'll see then what happens. So this makeup has been on for half an hour, or the concealer has been on for half an hour now. When I did my eye makeup, I noticed the same thing that I notice now as well, that since the first creasing and that little bit of powder, my under eye hasn't creased anymore, which is unusual. Usually when I apply my makeup, I let it sit a little bit, the concealer, take away the first creasing, then add a powder, then wait a little bit, and there usually is a little bit of creasing again. That is because I tend to use quite heavy moisturizers on my under eye area, and I use quite moisturizing thick concealers as well. So in that perspective, this is doing very well. At least at this point, it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful on the skin. Maybe a little bit dry. I don't know. I have this lip gloss on the lipstick, and I don't know what about it. It does look a little bit of dry, but it might be also, it's just a bit more thick layer than I usually wear. The foundation I used in my makeup today is the HD foundation from Catrice, and this shade 010 Light Beige is pretty much my closest match. It has that kind of greenish grayish tone which sits on my skin really beautifully. And then what I used today, I just got this yesterday and I am so excited. This is better than I just dreamed. This is the new summer edition from Guerlain. It has this beautiful golden pink pearls which give you, there is a little bit of shimmer and pearls as well. And it gives so beautiful light layer on your skin. I just I at least now I like this more than the original one, which tells you a lot. So I will go on with my day. I'm going to go outside. It's plus 14 and something, I think, and sun is shining, so there will be testing how sunglasses wear with this. And I'm going to walk outside, so there is going to be a little bit of sweating also, so we will see if there is any problems with that. Usually under eye is not the one that sweats a lot, but I have a problem with this. But we'll see. I will check in later to see how it wears during the day. All right, it's now 8 o'clock in the evening, and as you can see, sun is still shining here in Finland. It was yesterday 9:30 and the sun was still shining, so summer is coming. But let's go to this concealer. It's been now on for 8 hours exactly. So let's zoom in how it looks like. I have checked from the mirror a few times, and the situation has been pretty much this all day. There is a little bit of smudging from my mascara, but that is something always happens. This is the side I used a little bit of that Becca Brightener, and this is the side that I didn't use anything else but only that concealer and powder. And as you can see, there is a little bit of creasing here, but I would say that there is absolutely no concealer in this world that would not crease when you have fine lines. Okay, we are focused now. It's just something that happens, and as I smile when I talk, the creases come more visible and more prominent, so it always happens. But compared to my most concealers, this has creased far less than any other. And what has surprised me most is that when I applied it, I thought that this is a bit dry looking, but it hasn't got any more dry looking during the day, which usually happens. And this is, I think, the most interesting point with this concealer, that it doesn't dry your skin. And I used more drying powder than on many days, so this is great news for me. I really am impressed about this drying thing. So it's still looking quite fresh, and I didn't use any fixing spray or moisturizing spray, so my skin does feel dry now, as I use the Catrice HD foundation, which is quite dry and full coverage, and I can feel that my skin is dry. So usually I would have used some kind of moisturizing spray during the day once or twice, and that would have fixed that problem. One other thing, I did go to store and swatched the other shades they had. They didn't of course have the C5, but I did swatch the C3, and that would have been way too light for me, so I'm happy I didn't get that one. The shade wise, I really like this one. It looks exactly like my skin, so the shade is actually great. I did swatch the pink peach one, and that has quite a lot of pigment, so I didn't want to take that because I have correctors like that. And then they did have the shade C7, which is the same lightness but much more peachier, and that's not the greatest one. So I will continue using this concealer when I want a long wearing concealer. This is looking so good as a long time concealer, so I'm really impressed. And I will just use a little bit of some kind of corrector to correct these dark spots you can still see on my under eye area. But as a conclusion, this looks great even on dry skin and mature skin, and there is creasing on fine lines, but that's just something fine lines do. But nothing major. This is minimal creasing, which I'm very happy about. But if you have now any requests, comments, questions or anything, or requests for the forthcoming videos, let me know in the comment sections. Now I wish you have a great day, and see you next time. Bye bye.